Hello again, my DIY loving friends, and welcome to Medicated Housewife DIY, where crafting and mental health come together. Get ready for stunning fall decor on a budget with these 4 quick and easy, high-end Dollar Tree DIYs. Elevate your home with affordable and stylish decor for this upcoming season. Create stunning autumn vibes in your space without breaking the bank. So let's go DIY together. For this first DIY, I am using this oval wood plaque I got at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be painting it using some Faux Art antique wax, which I will link for you in the description box below. I'm going to paint all sides of this wood plaque, wiping off the excess with a dry paper towel. And for this project, we're using the smooth side facing up, and that tapered side is going to be facing down, but I do want all the sides and the edges to be painted with the antique wax. I've also got these 2 tiny wood incense burner bowls from Five Below, but I will try and find similar bowls to link for you below as well. The wood color of the bowls is very similar to the color of the antique wax, so they go well together. I'm using hot glue to attach the bowls together at the bottoms to be the base for the riser that we are making. Then I am simply taking the wood plaque and attaching it to the 2 bowls with a little more glue. And as I said before, the smaller tapered side of the plaque is facing downward and the larger smooth side facing upward. And that's how quick and easy this gorgeous little wood riser is to make. It's a little farmhouse, a tiny bit rustic, and in my opinion, it's truly upscale looking, especially considering it's made out of a $1.25 wood plaque from Dollar Tree and a couple of bowls from Five Below. Just a versatile decor piece made out of real wood to elevate your fall decor this year. This next DIY begins with this wood tray from Dollar Tree Plus, and we are going to paint it using some Faux Art antique wax. First, I am painting the inside walls of the tray, then the outside walls of the tray, followed by that whole inside bottom of the tray as well. Plus, we're also doing all of those edges at the top walls and inside of those handle cutouts. Next, I got this roll of rattan caning from Amazon, and I will link it for you below. I have already soaked it in hot water to make it a little easier to work with, and I place it under the tray so that I can cut a piece of the cane, or is it caning? I can cut a piece of cane or caning. I'm sure someone will correct me. Let me know in the comments what the correct terminology is. Forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. I'm cutting a piece of the caning to fit inside of our wood tray. So I cut out that piece measured to fit the bottom of the tray. I had this Elmer's Craft Bond adhesive in my stash, and I will try and find it or something like it to link for you below. I figured this would be the easiest and neatest way to attach the caning to the tray. After I placed the caning down, I also stacked some heavy flat-bottomed items on top of it to keep it as flat as possible for several hours. I want to cover up those ugly edges of the caning, so I am using a bunch of plain wood craft sticks from Dollar Tree, which I have cut the rounded ends off of them already, and we're going to paint one side and the edges of each craft stick with some antique wax. We'll use these to make a frame for the inside of the tray to cover those edges of the caning because they're just not pretty. I think I painted about 20 craft sticks in all, but I did not end up using all of them. I used some hot glue to attach each of the craft sticks, covering all of the sides of the inside of the tray, as you can see me doing right here. And I used a plain household scissors to trim any of the craft sticks that were too long to fit in place. We're making a rectangular frame around the inside edge of that tray bottom. When I was done, I ended up placing that same flat-bottomed heavy item to rest on top of all of the sticks in the caning again to help keep them all flat and in place, and I left it on there for several hours. Lastly, I had some brown suede cording in my stash, but I will find something comparable to link for you below. All I did was use a little hot glue to secure the ends, and I wrapped the suede around the handle cutouts on both sides of the tray. Easy peasy. And one thing to note about this tray, it is challenging to get that caning to stay flat once it's fully dry after being soaked. I found that the longer you leave a flat, heavy object on top of that, the better that it stayed flat for longer. It just looked a lot better. Just a little tip from me. And this is my wood and rattan tray, and you guys, tell me this tray doesn't look like something you'd spend a fortune on at a Pottery Barn or Crate and Barrel. This tray is so elegant and such a warm and inviting piece of fall decor. Seriously, a must-have for everyone, and what a gorgeous gift to make for someone. Just stunning, in my opinion. Moving on to our next DIY, I am using 2 of these rigid plastic disposable cups. They have these at Dollar Tree or even at the supermarket, and I'm going to hot glue one on top of the other, bottom to bottom, as you can see me doing right here. I had a roll of this thick jute in my stash, and I will link it for you below, but you can also use the smaller Dollar Tree nautical rope for this too. I am cutting a whole bunch of pieces of the jute to be slightly longer than the height of the 2 cups that are attached together, so there is some overlap on both sides. I honestly don't know how many pieces I cut, but it was enough to cover the diameter of the cups going vertically. Starting in the middle seam where the 2 cups are attached, I use a dab of hot glue to attach the middle of my first piece of jute, and then I attach the rest of that piece of jute to both the upper cup and the lower cup, trying to keep that piece of jute as straight up and down as possible. Then I do the same thing to the second piece of jute on the other side of the 2 cups, followed by 2 more pieces of jute that are evenly placed apart. So basically, I've created 4 equal quarters of space on the 2 cups. Now, with the 4 quarters of space, I am going to fill in each quarter with more vertical pieces of jute, trying to keep them as straight as I can as I go. And as the cups get filled up with the jute, you can see that there is an indent in the middle where the 2 cups are meeting, which means there's less space in the middle of the 2 cups than at the top and at the bottom. So toward the end, when everything's filled in, you can't really squeeze those last pieces of jute fully into that middle. So what I end up doing on some of those last pieces in the 4 quarters is to just cut the jute piece in half and just squeeze those last pieces into the bottom part and the top parts of the cup, just skipping that middle section altogether. If that makes any sense to you, hopefully it does. It's not nearly as complicated as I'm making it sound. When all the plastic on the cup is covered, I trim one of the sides to the same length, and we're going to make this the top of the project. So using some hot glue, I fold the pieces of jute over the edge of the cup and tuck them inside of that cup, securing them with the hot glue. So the edge of the cup is going to be totally covered in jute. Then turning my attention to the bottom of the project, I want the bottom to kind of look like a skirt, like a mermaid kind of a bottom on a wedding dress. Hopefully that makes sense, but it needs to be cut to the same size. So I place it standing up on a cutting mat, and using a rotary cutter, I cut the bottom jute pieces into kind of like a circle, going around the bottom of the project. I didn't measure it, I just eyeballed it, and I did my best. I am going to take the jute covered cups as well as a plastic jar top that I found that fit over the top of the project perfectly, and I am going to spray paint them both using some Rust-Oleum Bright Shiny Gold spray paint. I also ended up spray painting a large piece of nautical rope from Dollar Tree that I had tied some knots on each end and unraveled the very ends of that rope a bit before spraying. I take that nautical rope and I am going to tie it in a knot around the middle of the cups, kind of like tying a belt around the waist of a dress. Just a simple knot right in the middle. Lastly, off camera, I wrapped a piece of leafy ribbon around the nautical rope belt to add a little green color to the project. I also placed the gold painted jar top on top. And this is my gold jute candle holder. Honestly, I didn't know how this was going to go. I wasn't sure about spray painting rope and jute, but all in all, I really like this candle holder. You could also place a small plant on it. The gold has more of an antique-y vibe rather than a glam vibe to it, which I prefer, and I think it's a really unique piece. Moving on, this DIY starts with this small wood panel. I think it's about 5 inches. I got it on Amazon and I will link it below, but you could use any square Dollar Tree frame for this as well. I am painting it with some antique wax from Faux. I'm also using 10 ping pong balls I got from Dollar Tree. I placed 5 of the balls down in this shape, and I am going to use some hot glue to glue these 5 balls together in this formation that you can see me do right here. Next, I attach 4 more balls on top of the 5 using more hot glue, as you can see right here. Then I attach the last ping pong ball at the very top of the pile with some hot glue. I take my little pile of ping pong balls outside and I spray paint them with Rust-Oleum bleached stone texture paint, which I will link for you below. I take a set of fairy lights I had in my stash, but you can get these at Dollar Tree too. I want to attach them to the inside walls of my wood panel, so I do this using small dabs of hot glue to keep the wired lights in place. I take my now dry texture painted pile of ping pong balls and I place it back into the wood panel over the fairy lights. And just a note, that texture spray takes forever to dry on plastic. It took 2 full days for it to dry without feeling tacky, so please keep that information in mind. Okay, and this is my ping pong ball faux stone lamp, and I know they don't really look like stones at all. Maybe they look a little like a pile of bubbles, like dirty, soapy bubbles. It's not a fail, but it's not a win. Not sure how I feel about this one, you guys. I'm just not sure. But as usual, I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments which one of these 4 quick and easy high-end home decor DIYs for fall was your favorite and why. I love hearing from all of you. And if you've enjoyed this DIY video, there is another one waiting for you. Just click that link on your screen for more Medicated Housewife DIYs. Thanks for watching, and until next time, my name is Sarah. I'm the Medicated Housewife, and crafting is my medication.